Hi everyone. In July of 2018, some of my hypnosis clients, while in hypnosis, began to channel. Today, 22 months later, there are 18 of these channelers, and this podcast features one of them. Now, if you don't know what channeling is, check my website at peterhdennis.com and click on the channeling tab. You can also see lots about channeling on YouTube. Now today, my guest is the Reverend Michlynn Walton, and Michlynn channels a non-physical, highly evolved being named Fiona. After I ask Michlynn a couple of questions about herself, she will then go into the altered state of consciousness where she can connect with Fiona, and I will then direct some questions to her. So Michlynn, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Peter. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to share with you a little bit about who I am. My name is Reverend Michlynn Walton. I've recently become an ordained metaphysical minister, and that allows me to be open to all faiths and beliefs. I have 4 beautiful children and 2 grandchildren. My granddaughter, I believe to be a seer. She's coming up with some wonderful information and insights to my perception of back home. I've grown up in a family that has been very supportive of spirituality, light beings, spirits, guardian angels, those who have passed. So I guess moving into the channeling has just been sort of a natural progression for me. There were never any boundaries or constrictions growing up. If I said something, it was taken for face value. I've always been able to see things energetically. So it's interesting. It's almost when you look at a dog and the dog tilts his head and goes, because he understands what you're saying is not really your truth. So the journey for me has really been about learning what that gift is and how to use it in a constructive, compassionate, loving way so that I can share with other people and help support them. So I feel very blessed to learn more about that daily, and also to be connected with a lot of people that are opening up to the greater good for all of we.
Mm-hmm. Well, you channel a being who goes by the name Fiona. Do you find that your relationship with Fiona has changed your life or your outlook on anything?
Yes, I do. I feel like that has opened my eyes to other dimensions. I'm not sure if this has been the experience for other people. I have been able to connect with spirit, and I was a little bit confused between the channeling and the psychic abilities. So with the channeling of Fiona, I just feel more open and aware on a regular basis. And I believe it helps me with a little bit of clarity and direction. So I'm very grateful for that as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, in just a minute, I'll ask you to go into the altered state of consciousness that you do and bring Fiona forward, and then I'll have a little chat with her. So I'll just button up here for a minute, and you go ahead and bring her in. Fiona, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Peter.
Fiona, I know our listeners would be very intrigued to know more about you, who you are, where you're from, what you're doing here, that sort of thing. Please just run with that the way you would like.
I am Fiona. I'm a 6th-dimensional being. I have walked the earth many times, looking for souls and spirits to help with the healing of Gaia, of Mother Earth, to help with all of humanity, to help us get back to our soul journey and our soul learning. I choose the children as they have no preconceived notions or thoughts. Everything they say, everything they feel is true to them. And we are getting stronger in numbers. I've been down many times. Reincarnations, new incarnations. We are choosing carefully the families that we are coming to visit. We have been coming down for a very long time in Earth's human mind standards. First the indigos, who shook up the foundations, who started asking questions that the people that were labeled sheeples never chose to ask. They are causing a wave, they are wanting change, and they are the catalyst for what is happening now. We must be grateful. And as I have said before, we need the darkness in order to move into the light. We respect everybody, as everybody has a role.
What is the best way, Fiona, that we can deal with the darkness so as to move very effectively into the light?
Peter, you know I work with the children. Put them in a little bubble and just blow them out and let them do their work. We need to be mindful and focused on what we are doing, and what we are doing is filling lives with love and support, empowering these souls, letting them know they are being heard, they are powerful, they can walk in their truth. Just put them in a little bubble, the ones with the lower vibrations. They will come back and they will see, because they are also watching the work that we are doing. We are converting a lot of energy right now. It's happening. It's magical. It's important for us to stay course. It's just like the weather. It will rain, but then the sun will come out, and we enjoy the sun. But we understand the rain will also help us. It's the same thing as the lower or darker energies. That helps us be still, that helps us get stronger, that helps us learn and go inside and regroup. It's very important to honor all of we.
Now, you and I have spoken before about the children, and you told me some of their qualities, namely they know who they are, whereas most humans go through a forgetting process and we don't know who we are. And they're coming in with a lot of information. Can you expand on that and just tell us some of the qualities of these children, what they're like, what their ages might be, that sort of thing?
I believe some of them are already in their early 20s, teenagers. Those were the indigos that came down. Of course, there are always exceptions, but for the most part, these beings have chosen to come down and be the freedom fighters and get the movement started. The group that is currently waiting, and there is a long lineup, the veil will not go down. Usually what happens by the time you're 5, you have been programmed to think what other people feel is best for you. You are tired, go to sleep, even if you're not tired. You are hungry, you must eat, even if you're not hungry. These little ones may be a challenge, but they are pure light. They have had lives with the ones that came before them. The connection is getting stronger and stronger. Again, Peter, it's like the maypole, where we are all coming from one source. Globally, we are all connected to a soul family, and the soul families are all coming together. Each strand, each group, we are staying connected. The veil is not going down. These little light beings are full of knowledge. It's time to stop and actively listen. And the pandemic that is currently happening is preparing us for that. We cannot hear somebody's voice when they have a mask on. We need to stop and actively listen. We became a society of multitasking and doing so many things that we never heard or really listened to the people that were in front of us. And now we have no choice but to do that. We cannot see if they're smiling. We cannot hear them unless we stop and stay in that moment. And these little ones are coming down and sharing their knowledge. And we are starting to listen, and we are starting to talk about it. We are starting to say, this experience happened to me. Has this happened to you? And people are starting to realize it's not solely just them. They're not making it up. This is a movement of global proportions. This is happening, and we have no choice but to stop and listen and then become involved. It's incredible, Peter, what is happening. Absolutely incredible.
This is going to be a big change for parents and teachers. What advice would you have for them?
Stand in your truth. There will always be ways that we can stay true. Some of us will have jobs and situations where there will be certain structures, but there's a back door to everything. And as long as it is done with pure loving intention and integrity, it is going to serve all of we. For example, you will know if you are in a position, if you are in a position as a teacher and you are passionate about these children, and the school or the board that has gifted you this job goes against everything you believe, it's time to take that leap of faith and go somewhere else. I see it happening. I see teachers who are working for boards that are starting to question the integrity. And as the information trickles down, you are seeing the teachers striking to say, we want what's best for the children. And the majority of them do. But they are in a classroom where their hands are tied. They are getting groups of children that look, act, and think very different than what they did before. And the information they're giving them is not nurturing their souls. These children are wanting to be taught from a soul level. How do I self-soothe? How do I navigate this journey? Yes, the educational part is very important, as we have chosen to be here and live in this society. But how is it being presented? And are we reaching everybody? How can you possibly teach 30 children with one format? There needs to be options, and we are starting to speak up. Homeschooling will become bigger because parents have been given the opportunity. Some might find it a challenge and go back to the way it was, and that's okay. We need the balance.
Now, if these children come into this life with a great deal more knowledge than their predecessors, what sorts of things will schools have for them?
Extracurricular, different types of schools will pop up. The camps and the extracurricular groups will look a little different. we can start with mindful meditations and introduce it that way. It will be an adjustment, but there is already a lot of information about how useful meditation is. That's not as in your face to the spiritual connection as some of the information that will come in. So we will start slowly and gently, because they are full of information, but they're also full of knowledge on how to present the information in divine timing. Some of us that have come down before find a new skill and a new toy, and we just want to go, go, go. And the little ones coming in understand. They understand the stillness. They understand the importance of planting seeds. And they're willing to wait.
Fiona, I guess I'm cognizant of the clock here, and we want to do this with reasonable timing. I'm wondering, before you leave us, if there is any other message that you would have for parents, children, or humanity in general.
You're on the right track. You're at the right place at the right time. Just keep doing your best. Release any judgment on what your neighbors are doing. Step away from the apps that tell you what this one is doing, is that one is doing. We're no longer in a society of keeping up with the Joneses. We are doing our own thing, but it is a collective because it is for the greater good. So stay your course.
Well, Fiona, thank you for that. And thank you very much for joining us on this podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Peter.
Michlynn, welcome back.
Thank you, Peter.
How are you feeling?
I always feel amazing when I come back down to this planet. So it takes me a little bit of time to really adjust to this human vessel that I am in. It's really magical, the freedom that happens when you're connecting with multidimensional beings, and the clarity of the information that's coming in. It's very empowering. And when I come back, I really just want to share with people and get the word out so that our children and our children's children can live in a wonderful world.
Well, speaking of getting the word out, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, thank you for asking, Peter. My web page or website is currently under construction. You can get a hold of me at revmichlynn@gmail.com for now. I'm looking forward to some assistance with somebody who knows a little bit more about technology than I do. But so it is revmichlynn@gmail.com.
Great. Well, Michlynn, thank you very much for being with us today. And we look forward to more of your recordings and information in the future.
Thank you, Peter.
Well, folks, that's it for our show today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back for some more. You can download and or listen to this podcast or any of the other 50 or so by going to my website at www.peterhdennis.com. Once you're there, click on the podcast tab, scroll down to section number 2, and there you can click on Ingrid's name or photo and listen or download from there. A final point. I've recently started a channeling newsletter. It features some of the channelers with whom I have worked, and it's filled with channeling recordings spanning many fascinating subjects. If you'd like to subscribe to this newsletter, send me an email requesting that you be added to the subscriber list, and I'll see that you get the newsletters from now on. My email address is peter@peterhdennis.com. So until next time, so long for now.